The film opens in a top-secret government laboratory, a highly secure facility operated by the US War Department. Within this clandestine setting, we meet a young girl named Sierra, who is seen engaging with alien technology that was recovered from the infamous Roswell UFO incident. The laboratory was filled with advanced and mysterious equipment, and the atmosphere changes with secrecy and tension. Sarah, possessing remarkable telepathic abilities, communicates her experiences with the alien device by typing them on a computer monitor, which translates her thoughts into readable text. John Brighton, a stern and methodical employee of the US Defense Department, enters the scene. His mission is to interrogate Sierra, seeking vital information about a mysterious door mentioned in her communications and the methods to unlock it. John's demeanor is a blend of curiosity and urgency, as he knows that the stakes are incredibly high. Sierra reveals that while it was indeed possible to open this magnetic door, she faces opposition from an unknown force that seems to be hindering her efforts. She explains that an antagonistic dynamic force is required to access whatever lies beyond the barrier, and as she speaks, her mind is suddenly overwhelmed with disturbing images of people in great distress, and she begins to suffocate under the strain of her intense interaction with the alien technology. Just as it seems she might succumb, John rushes to her side and manages to rescue her, pulling her back from the brink of disaster. The scene then transitions dramatically to a UFO orbiting Earth, where a diverse group of humans were held captive against their will. The interior of the spacecraft is a confusing labyrinth of strange, pulsating wires and glowing panels. Among the captives is a man named Zach, who finds himself entangled in a web of these strange wires, disoriented and unsure of his surroundings. As he struggles to make sense of this predicament, he notices Sierra, a young girl that he had seen earlier, sitting nearby. She appears frightened and unresponsive, lost in her own thoughts. Zach's confusion deepens as he experiences fleeting visions of a bunker and soldiers standing nearby, which seem to flash before Sierra's eyes as well. These visions are disjointed and unsettling, adding to his bewilderment about how he ended up in this peculiar place. Each individual on the spacecraft is restrained separately, their arms and legs held firmly by black, writhing tentacles. The tentacles tighten whenever the captives resist, feeding off the energy generated by their emotional responses. Frustrated by Sierra's lack of response, Zach tries to convince himself that it was all just a terrible dream with no real consequences. He mutters to himself, attempting to ground his sanity in the force of such bizarre and terrifying circumstances, and meanwhile, back in the government lab in 1969, an officer approaches General Borland with a sense of urgency. He informs the general that they've lost contact with Sierra's transmission from the spacecraft. Adding to the growing tension, the officer also shares that a second transmission from the same location has been received and requests to show it to the general. The officer's report becomes even more troubling when he reveals that Agent John has gone missing, much to General Borland's displeasure. The general's face hardens with concern, knowing that these developments could have far-reaching implications. Back on the orbiting UFO, Zach gradually becomes aware of the presence of other individuals alongside him and Sierra. One of them, a man with a familiar tone, addresses the girl as Sarah, indicating some level of familiarity with her. Introducing himself as John, he attempts to capture Sarah's attention, but she remains in a trance-like state, unresponsive to his calls. Sierra continues to experience distressing memories of being tortured with electricity, with flashes of John's face appearing within them, and it becomes clear that this John is Agent John Brighton, the same man from the lab, but even this revelation fails to awaken Sierra from her stupor. John was at a loss, unable to comprehend the unexpected turn of events, as everything was meant to go according to plan. The situation grows increasingly desperate as John tries to find a way to bring Sarah back to awareness, and amidst the chaos, Zach suddenly recalls an intimate moment with his girlfriend. The memory was vivid and filled with warmth, a stark contrast to his current predicament, and surprisingly, Sarah addresses him by the affectionate name his beloved used to call him, a detail that shocks Zach to his core. This unexpected familiarity sparks outrage within him, and in response, the black tentacles restraining the captives tighten, extracting their emotional energy and transferring it to the ship. Another girl, filled with horror, struggles against the tentacles, and the ship absorbs the energy emanating from her. The tentacles cease to glow and the ship temporarily calms down, and Agent John, observing the situation closely, explains that this shutdown mechanism allows the organism to survive, otherwise the woman would have perished. His explanation is met with a mixture of relief and frustration from the captives, and as the event unfolds, John directs his attention towards Sarah, hoping to gain further insight into their predicament. John urges Sarah to open the door. The narrative then shifts back to the base, where a scientist explains to General Borland that John's transmission coincided with Sarah's transmission. This perplexes them both, as their disappearances occurred 10 years apart. The mysterious overlap raises questions about the nature of their connection and how it could have come to be. The scientist and the general exchange theories, each more speculative than the last, but the truth remains elusive. In the orbiting UFO, John realizes that the aliens have a purpose for keeping all of them captive, and the fact that they're all still alive suggests that the aliens require something from the group. Determined to awaken Sarah from her trance-like state, John endeavors to bring her back to awareness. He understands that their lives depend on unraveling the aliens' intentions, and the urgency of their situation presses heavily on him. Another individual named Perry regains consciousness in the midst of the chaos, and startled and distressed, he screams and struggles to break free from the black tentacles restraining him. John attempts to calm him down, but Perry's irritation and resistance persists, and John then issues a final warning, explaining the dire consequences that await if Perry fails to calm himself down. The agent emphasizes that the tentacles will sever his limbs, leading to fatal bleeding. Perry, breathing heavily, gradually regains his composure and begins to provide answers to the questions posed to him. His last memory was being confined in a cell, where he suddenly experienced severe stomach problems and began vomiting uncontrollably. Perry vividly recalls a doctor without entering the cell, requesting him to open his mouth, resulting in a disturbing fountain of black vomit. John acknowledges that he also felt ill during transportation to orbit, and Zack, however, attempts to mock John's account, but Perry urges him to look around and consider the impossibility of encountering such a scenario on Earth. Perry, who possesses knowledge about machines, has never encountered anything like this before. His technical expertise, however, provides no comfort or answer in the face of their extraordinary circumstances. John reluctantly reveals that the government was aware of the existence of aliens, however their purpose and motives remain a mystery. He discloses that people have been abducted for some time, and scientists have been diligently attempting to decipher the reasons behind these abductions. At this moment, another woman regains consciousness. Rhonda, claustrophobic by nature, struggles to cope with the confinement and experiences immense distress. John instructs her to close her eyes and state her name, hoping to calm her down. Despite Rhonda's efforts, she struggles to find solace in John's guidance, and Perry intervenes and encourages her to visualize a safe place where she can always seek refuge. Gradually, Rhonda starts to calm down, and the tension in the tentacles ease. With everyone calmer and more focused, John proposes that they explore their shared experiences and seek patterns that may offer insights into the aliens' logic. Rhonda recalls dropping off her daughter at school before experiencing sudden illness and sharp pain, only to find herself in their current predicament. As the conversation continues, another girl named Alex regains consciousness. The men caution Alex against moving, as it would result in the loss of her arms due to the tentacles' constriction. Suddenly, Alex recognizes Zack, as he's a well-known figure, and she playfully flirts with him, but her revelation stuns everyone else who has no recollection of Zack's fame. Alex explains that she remembers him from her childhood, as he was once a celebrity. However, she reveals that Zack died years ago when his fiancée killed him. The news covered the case extensively, and although his body was never found, his fiancée eventually confessed and was convicted. This shocking revelation places the events in a different time frame, approximately 15 years after Zack's supposed demise in 2018. Zack, taken aback by Alex's claims, believes that she must be under the influence of substances, as her words defy all logic. However, Peter interjects, mocking everyone present and asserting that it is now the year 2050. Zack, still convinced that it is 2001, is left utterly shocked by Peter's assertion, questioning his own perception of time and reality. To our astonishment, Rhonda's abduction in 1997 and John's abduction in 1969 sends shockwave through the captives, intensifying their fear and triggering a reaction from the alien tentacles. The tentacles thrive on the captives' emotions, particularly their fear, as it serves as a source of sustenance for them. Overwhelmed by terror, Rhonda begins to struggle against the constricting grip of the tentacles, feeling trapped within a suffocating coffin-like prison. In the midst of her struggle, Rhonda experiences a sudden surge of liberation, and she finds herself transported to a cozy house, peering out of a window at a serene snowy landscape where a child happily sleds in a distance. Sarah materializes before Rhonda, reminding her that this imagined scene represents her safe place, a refuge from the torment of their current situation. While Rhonda's mind escapes into the comforting vision, the other captives witness her being engulfed by the alien substance, a disturbing sight that further fuels their own rising panic and desperation. Within Rhonda's vision, her deceased grandmother appears, assuming the form of the alien presence. She cryptically warns Rhonda that her time is running out, and that soon she will cease to function. Disheartened by her grandmother's refusal to grant her plea to return to her daughter, Rhonda is left with only a haunting smile as a response. At this critical moment, Sierra's ability comes into play, triggering a memory in Jack's mind. He recalls the time when he examined the young girl in the laboratory back in 1969, utilizing the wreckage obtained from the Roswell crash. Sierra had vividly described a harrowing scene involving people screaming, an experience that had nearly cost her life. John, acting on instinct, had rescued her from the clutches of the alien nest. When Sierra regained consciousness, she forewarned him about the impending arrival of the unknown threat. Observing Rhonda's suffering, John realizes that Sierra possesses the extraordinary ability to interact with entities across different points in time. This revelation opens up new possibilities and challenges their understanding of this predicament. As Rhonda gradually calms down, Alex begins to succumb to panic. However, she manages to regain control just in time to prevent the tentacles from further tightening their grip. John theorizes that the alien ship feeds on the captive's fear and anger, harnessing these intense emotions as a source of energy. John proceeds to recount his involvement in the team that discovered the wreckage near Roswell 22 years ago, and among the remnants, they found the lifeless body of an alien entity that seemingly controlled the ship using telepathic abilities. The absence of conventional technical controls or traditional fuel led them to deduce that the alien's mind was not only the source of control, but also the power generator, converting mental energy into kinetic energy. Over the years, similar crashes occurred, prompting the US government to establish a UFO research program, and as part of the program, they discovered that a woman in the town was pregnant, and her child Sierra was sent to a clandestine research facility due to her extraordinary brain activity. To monitor her progress, new devices were developed, allowing Sierra to establish telepathic connections with technical devices, and eventually with the ship itself. The immense strain of this connection nearby claimed her life, but she never disclosed the details of what she witnessed during those encounters. John's deep attachment to Sierra caused dissatisfaction amongst the program's leadership, and one day, a general ordered Sierra to activate the ship using electricity, a command that John vehemently opposed. As a result of his resistance to the procedure imposed on Sierra, John was forcibly removed from the project. However, he couldn't accept the decision to send Sierra alone to face the unknown aboard the ship. To ensure her safety, John enlisted the help of a trusted colleague who surreptitiously aided him in using recreated alien technology to follow Sierra's path. Now, against all odds, John and Sierra find themselves reunited, their shared history unveiling the truth behind Sierra's involvement in Project Ithaca, or the Specialized Extraterrestrial Reconnaissance Agent, commonly abbreviated as SERA or Sierra. Engrossed in their conversation and revelations, the captives fall to notice the awakening tentacles, which begin to assert control over each individual once again. The tentacles, sensing the captives' vulnerability and heightened emotions, prepare to tighten their grip. As the tension escalates, John finds himself in a hospital room, confronted by the sight of a mutilated woman. A doctor enters and begins to taunt John, blaming him for the accident that claimed his wife's life. The doctor accuses John of ignoring his wife's pleas to slow down, labeling him as a stubborn and selfish man. Consumed by anger, John unleashes a powerful emotional outburst, which is absorbed by the tentacles surrounding him, feeding their insatiable appetite for heightened emotions. Meanwhile, Perry experiences a vision of his daughter, Sammy. However, he quickly realizes the illusion and vehemently shouts at the apparition. Perry taunts the aliens, mocking their attempt to frighten him. Brushing off the threats, Perry decides to lie down and sleep, seemingly unbothered by the aliens' countdown of his remaining days. In another harrowing vision, Alex witnesses the murder of her mother and the relentless pursuit of her younger self by her physically assaulting father. However, in a sudden twist, Sierra intervenes, striking the father and saving Alex from further harm. This act not only ensures Alex's safety, but also provides an additional surge of emotional discharge for the ship, as an intense emotion experienced by the captives continues to serve as a source of sustenance. John's journey takes yet another unexpected turn as he finds himself in Rhonda's grandmother's house, greeted by an adult Sierra. Sierra reveals that she's created a personal channel to bring John into Rhonda's mental refuge, and this refuge, hidden from the prying eyes of the aliens, offers a safe haven for the captives. Sierra warns John that time is running out, sensing the strengthening connection between herself and the ship. She explains that the ship is a biomechanoid vessel controlled by an alien artificial intelligence, which thrives on human emotions. When enough energy was amassed, the aliens will be able to open portals, allowing them to traverse different time periods. Sierra reveals that the aliens are now relentlessly searching for her, as she possesses a unique ability to communicate across time. Suddenly, Sierra vanishes and Rhonda's grandmother assumes control, speaking on behalf of the aliens. They express a desire to return to their home, claiming to be old and weary. The aliens initiate a countdown, signaling the remaining days of John's life, and they proclaim to have witnessed countless creatures and deem humans as unremarkable, destined to be used and discarded. However, they find John different and offer him a choice, suggesting that he could betray his own race for the greater good. They point to his past actions, the destruction he caused in search of forgiveness, and the fact that he saved Sierra as evidence of his potential. The aliens propose that John has the capacity to turn against his own kind and align with them, and John's perspective shifts as he witnesses himself being prepared for transportation via a teleporter, realizing that something has gone awry. Meanwhile, Alex regains consciousness and encounters Sierra, and grateful for the opportunity to avenge his mother's murderer and rapist, Alex expresses her gratitude to Sierra, acknowledging the unorthodox means through which justice was served. Sierra assures Alex that she won't meet her demise within the confines of the ship, promising her safety. As the other captives gradually regain consciousness, John explains to Sierra that the teleporter malfunctioned, resulting in their current situation. The aliens possess knowledge of everything and intentionally sent him to the point in time. During the experiment 10 years ago, Sierra found herself aboard the ship and witnessed Rhonda's death. Zack begins to inquire further, causing a reaction from the ship, and sensing the impending danger, Sarah retreats back into Rhonda's mental refuge, while the other captives experience discharges of emotional energy. Rhonda's grandmother affirms the presence of thousands of suffering individuals aboard the ship, and Sierra questions the aliens' unexpected sympathy for their captives, considering that she had never received any pity or compassion except from John. Sierra reveals that her mother had been infected with alien spores, and now she must confront her own fate. Realizing the extent of her power, Sierra acknowledges that she possesses the ability to save those tormented souls, embracing her role as a potential savior behavior amidst the chaos of their predicament. Back on the ship, Perry, speaking for the aliens, promises death to everyone, claiming the human race will become extinct. John counters, asserting that humans are unique, and temporal shifts cause the past to mingle with the future, and Sierra hears John's call to open the door amidst cries for help, and she understands that sacrificing herself could help humanity. The conversations on the ship repeat endlessly, and the captives seem to float in time until everything stops, and Sierra announces that it will all end because they are coming. John yells, not wanting to leave her, but Sierra insists that there is no other way, and the captives vanish and awaken in a winter forest. Sierra's voice narrates that humans have been abducted for thousands of years, their wills suppressed and deprived of home and family. However, some fall back until now, and the aliens have not encountered resistance and considered humans helpless, but this is not true. The rescued captives look toward a distant city, smile and walk toward it, and in space, a vortex opens, releasing dozens of alien ships, and this marks the film's conclusion. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.